I could start it up, see what's here.
Get somebody else sign it up.
Huh?
You have one more person.
Oh. Well, I could start. Oh, wait a minute. You need to sign it, right?
Okay, I'm just, sorry, did you say you had another one?
All right, so I want to do it correctly. It is now 7:02, and I'm calling the meeting of the Orange County Board of Education to order. And the first thing that I will do is read the public charge. The Orange County Board of Education pledges to its citizens to conduct its business in a courteous and productive manner, showing respect for fellow board members, staff, and citizens. The board asks its citizens to conduct themselves with the same courtesy toward both school personnel and each other. As per board policy, Robert's Rules of Order, will be used to conduct meetings. A moment of silence will be observed before each meeting. The board asks that you check your cell phones and other electronic devices to be certain that they are turned off or on vibrate to avoid interruption of this meeting. Thank you. And now we will observe a moment of silence. Thank you very much. So now, Mr. Superintendent, Dr. Wirt, do we have any recognitions?
Yes, ma'am, we do. Mr. Stevens.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Superintendent. Tonight, our recognitions are for our students who have achieved a great honor to attend this summer, which is Governor School. We will have our district point of contact, Ms. Sarah Baumgarten, come up and announce and recognize each of our students who have achieved this truly great honor.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Wirt. I'm proud to present to you the Orange County School students who will represent our district at the 2019 North Carolina Governor's School. The Governor's School of North Carolina is a 5.5-week summer residential program for intellectually gifted high school students. It integrates academic disciplines, the arts, and unique courses on each of 2 campuses. Admittance to Governor's School is competitive, with fewer than 40% of applicants being accepted. The curriculum focuses on the exploration of the most recent ideas and concepts in each discipline and does not involve credit, tests, or grades. The Governor's School in North Carolina is the oldest statewide summer residential program for gifted high school students in the country. The program, which is open to rising seniors and some rising juniors, is located on 2 campuses of 335 students each. Governor's School West takes place at High Point University and Governor's School East at Meredith College in Raleigh. To support our students, Orange County Schools covers the cost of tuition so that our students may attend for free. We are thankful for the board's generous support of the program. So without further ado, it is my honor to recognize each student. We have 4 students from Orange County Schools who are going to be representing us this year. So when I call their name, I'll ask you to stand and you can come over and shake hands and be recognized for your accomplishments. So first, I'd like to recognize Miranda Harris from Orange High School, who is attending for instrumental music in flute and piccolo.
Congratulations, Amanda. Yeah, we just stand with it.
It's good seeing you.
Next, I'd like to recognize Ezekiel Canby from Cedar Ridge High School, who will be attending for theater.
Congratulations.
And next, I'd like to recognize Hannah Irving from Orange High School, who will be attending for English. And we also have one.
Okay.
That's Mr. Yarbrough. I'd also like to thank the teachers and staff at both Orange High School and Cedar Ridge for their help of the students, particularly Sam Westbrook at Orange High School. He is the guidance counselor there who helps coordinate students there. And Ms. Heather Witherspoon at Cedar Ridge High School who helps coordinate students there. We also have one additional student attending Governor School who could not be here tonight. That is Sarah Smith from Cedar Ridge High School. She will attend for choral music. She could not be here tonight because she is interning with the North Carolina Summer Opera, and they have their first rehearsal tonight.
Wow.
Wow.
Good for her.
So congratulations again to our 2019 Governor School students. We know you will represent us well this summer.
Yes, congratulations, and have fun.
Yes.
That's important, have fun there as well. Okay, so the next item is the agenda adoption.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you for giving me a chance to go in. You know, we have, our public, comments, and the first name is LaTondra Strong, please. Yes, she did, there she is. She's putting her stuff down, I guess. LaTondra, you're up. That's fine, we'll give you a chance to get yourself settled.
Chance to get to,
That's fine.
my text in my book.
All right, thank you.
I'm come before you again, and, this time I'm deeply saddened, deeply saddened. I'm sad because, Dr. Word is leaving. And when you've been working on something that's so hard to manage for such a long time, and you have a big disruption to that process like this, it just pains me. It really pains me that we're gonna have to start all over with somebody else. I'm sad because the board seems, and I just have to speak from my heart today, it seems totally dysfunctional. It just breaks my heart, because there's such serious work that needs to happen. And it seems like there's these one group pitted against another group. It saddens me. It saddens me that we had an election, people voted, and people wanted change. And instead of going along with that change, there's resistance to that change. That makes my heart hurt even more. Because I thought for once, for 1 year, that people might be able to just deal with something a little abnormal. Just for 1 year. I don't understand why we find ourselves in this position. I'm saddened because while we may think there was an isolated incident this week, I know there are multiple incidents of racial tension and racial harassment in our district. And instead of facing the challenge and trying to make it different, it feels to me, and I said it feels to me because I'm not on the inside, it feels to me like there's efforts to cover up and just do things that's not gonna make it better. I'm really sad. And then I'm reminded that anytime you have this kind of radical change that we're having in our district that's needed, that these things are gonna happen. These things are gonna happen. It's gonna get all messed up. It's gonna look like people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, because that's what that kind of change looked like. At the end, there are students sitting in seats who don't have access to education. And the overarching theme that everybody's all tied up about is getting education to those kids. And rather than coming together and trying to make this happen. It seems like people are getting all tied up in adult ego stuff. And I'm asking you guys to think more about your responsibilities. I'm asking each of you to please consider that there are kids being harmed and there is education not happening in our district. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person is Ally Braswell.
And are we keeping time through the jingle?
That was the time.
That was the timer.
Okay,
Yes, we are.
okay, thank you.
Happy to hear from you.
Okay.
Thank you, Seth.
Good evening. My name is Ali
I'm sorry.
Braswell. No problem. You know, when we were crusading to ban the Confederate flag a few years ago, I thought I had heard the worst of the hate being hurled upon black children in this school district. But now I've learned about Redneck Row. Redneck Row, everyone. A row of parking spaces at Orange County High School that has been perpetually inhabited by young white supremacists who have been brutalizing, terrorizing, harassing, and bullying black children for more than 30 years. Now, I think one of you began teaching at Orange High School around 73, 74, and then became the principal around 96, 97. Did you know about this? How many of you knew about Redneck Row? How many of you have been complicit by turning a blind eye and sweeping it under the cafeteria table? Because I also just learned that many black students at Orange High are also afraid to eat lunch in the cafeteria because they're being further terrorized and called niggers. Did you know that? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And quote unquote, the stuff that Principal Yarbrough referenced in his letter to parents after a recent hate crime occurred, by stuff, he really meant the crimes that are being committed and that are going unpunished in this school district. So let me see, you've got Crystal Little and her adorable little daughter. You have a superintendent who's on his way out the door due to scandal. And now you have all of this. Now, I wonder if the Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Education would be interested in hearing about all of this stuff. Because you see, I just learned that I can actually file a claim on behalf of all of the black students in this district. Little old me. I don't even have to be a current parent. Isn't America great? I hereby demand that a lottery system be instituted for all parking spaces in every applicable school in the district and made effective for the 2019-2020 school year. They have a lottery at Cedar Ridge, so you see it's not very difficult at all. This is an easy, a pretty simple issue that you can solve and pretty quickly. And I'm sure that we would all agree that Redneck Row, a road that students have to walk along just to get into the school building each day, really needs to be abolished, just like slavery. We can do that, folks. Finding a heart and soul for this school district is going to take a bit more time, but I've got the time. How about you? Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Tara or Tara?
Tara.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah.
I'll just take 15 or 20 minutes.
I love it. She says it in 20 minutes. Oh, okay.
Okay, my name is Tara Raggett. I'm the PE teacher extraordinaire at Central Elementary. I'm here to actually thank you for supporting Orange County teachers with their endeavors on May 1st. What many people are not aware of is that in the teaching evaluation rubric, Standard 1D states, teachers advocate for schools and students Teachers advocate for positive change in policies and practices affecting student learning. They participate in the implementation of initiatives to improve the education of students. I'm fairly confident that most of the teachers, that's not the reason why they went, is to get a little box checked off on their evaluation. But at the end of the day, not all counties and boards of education supported the teacher advocacy at the state level for improving education policies. I was able to discuss my concerns with representatives. I was also able to do some networking, which hopefully sooner rather than later I'll be able to be a little bit more active in some local and state changes. But again, at the end of the day, I'm grateful and appreciative. And this is my first year back in this county, and I left a county that was not supportive of May 1st. And it's just very positive in this education climate to be supportive. So thank you.
Thank you.
I got a minute left, and I want to sing.
Okay. No, you're 1 minute left. All right, so the next person is this Nidra? Nidra Johnson? Thank you.
Good evening to the board, Dr. Wirt, who I will miss, just want to second Dr. Marjorie's sentiments, parents, and community. My name is Nidra Johnson, and I come to you this evening as a professional with extensive experience in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and as a concerned parent with school-aged children in the Orange County school system. To say that I am disgusted by the recent events at Orange High School in which an African-American student parked in what seems to be widely known as Redneck Row, whose car was defaced with the N-word, is an understatement. I am not only disgusted by the act itself, but that an incident such as this would not trigger immediate action and response from the administration and the school district broadly. If this was an isolated experience, it would still be unacceptable. But when you add on to the reality that similar events have happened in the past and continue to happen, it is deplorable. Therefore, I'm here today to share my sentiments with you, and I will simply say this. I am saddened and sickened by this racist and hateful act. This expression of hatred at an educational institution demands action. First, to protect all students from being bullied, intimidated, and demeaned. Second, to provide educators with the tools to deal meaningfully with discrimination and hatred that they may encounter in this educational setting. Third, to require all public officials who are charged with servicing the entire community to denounce immediately and often any actions that instills, advocates, and/or supports hatred in our schools. We must understand that for every act that is brought to the surface such as this, there are far more many cases of intimidation and verbal abuse that leave students and families suffering in silence. Imagine being a student every day, navigating the high school corridors where racism, hatred, and intimidation runs the halls. Imagine trying to perform academically when fear is constantly triggered. Imagine being the parents of these students and having to console and support your child through the pain that he creates, and then going to the resources that are in place to address these issues and nothing is ever done. Ask yourself, is that the kind of environment that a child can thrive in? Is it not the responsibility of the school administration and the board to ensure a safe environment of all students? And if so, do you think these children feel safe? I truly hope your answer is no. And if so, what are you going to do about it? Might I suggest that a message is clearly communicated to all students and parents that these acts will not be tolerated, that any space within and on school property will be available to all students, student parking lots, cafeteria, and elsewhere, that Redneck Row, or any other row for that matter, no longer exists, that this board and the administration is going to hold any and all individuals accountable who are found to intimidate, bully, or demean students, and that any and all incidents will be thoroughly investigated and documented, and the board will do its job fully to protect all students starting today. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last name we have on the list is Robin Ellison.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Robin Ellison. I've come to you guys before. I'm the person with all the kids. I have 2 high schoolers who I can't even say their names because they're terrified. They don't even want me to have a conversation. I have a middle schooler that a couple of weeks ago was having nightmares about the school being shot up. And I kept going, what is wrong? What's happening? Why are we having this conversation? I can't think of anything that's happened besides white males killing a lot of people. And I said, I don't know what you're worried about, but we have this conversation all the time. It's table talk. Somebody comes into school, save your ass. You run. You already know that you are probably going to be gunned down. They're gonna be looking for you. You're African American. Why wouldn't they look for you? So, I don't have any particular people. I'm just saying that is my conversation with my daughter, who's 11. It's a real conversation. It's not anything I'm making up. It's one that I don't want to have, but I do. Run. Get your ass out of there. Don't look back. But mommy, what if I'm stuck in a room? Get your ass in the closet and hide. You know what I told her? Hide. Get up under a white kid. Play dead. That's a real conversation. So my high school boys, they don't bring it to me so much. They're used to it. It's just something that happens like it did on my high school and college campus. So I'm asking you guys to think about my daughter or your daughter and your 11-year-old saying, where am I supposed to go? Not your, or maybe think about your white 11-year-old daughter, because she'll get shot too. But who are they gunning for?
Thank you. Thank you. If you give that to Patricia, please. So that ends the comments, and we will start our board reports with Mr. McKnight.
I don't have much, just, I really appreciated going to the Teachers of the Year banquet. Really good event.
Thank you. Dr. Pierce.
Yeah, just a couple of quick ones. I want to praise Teresa Cunningham Brown and her Human Resources folks for the Teacher of the Year program the other night. I thought it was well done. On past Friday, May 3rd, I don't know if any of you were able to get over there, Stand Back the Voices Together presentation.
Yeah.
Yasmin White is just an amazing person. She's out of Chapel Hill. And she's put this group together over the years, and is Connie Brenner here tonight? Every time I want to say something nice about her, she's not here, so please pass it on. And it was really nice to see the coordination between the Voices Together folks and the Exceptional Children's Program here in Orange County Schools. The kids came in all dressed up, and they gave, I wasn't able to stick around for the whole performance because I had to run to Hillsborough Elementary to have lunch with a grandson. But once again, it was a small program several years ago that had its roots at Grady Brown, and now it's expanded, I believe, to most of our schools. Is that correct, Michelle? And it was just super, and it really does give all children a voice through music to be recognized here in Orange County Schools. It's well done. Thank you.
Thank you. So I won't do that to you. So Sarah Smiley's next, because she always says, I have to come after Hillary. Well, I'll take care of that.
Okay, we'll go down this way. That's fine. So, some of the things I've done since our last board meeting, we had a collaborative meeting with the Chapel Hill School System and the Board of County Commissioners, attended the policy, meeting, attended the, exceptional games, which were, fantastic. I went to a meeting for the Campaign for Grade Level Reading, which is a, joint initiative between school districts, a bunch of literacy organizations, pre-K, Head Start, a whole bunch of organizations trying to come together around sort of a county-wide strategy for this sort of whole child and how we get children onto grade level reading by 3rd grade. And so hopefully we'll have more to share there soon. The Teacher of the Year banquet was wonderful. And I went to the art show opening at the public library. Students from all of our schools have their art up in the public library right now, and that was cool to walk around and see some of our teachers and see some of the student art. And then the last thing I want to mention, one of the things that's on the agenda tonight is an election for the seat, for the vice chair seat. And I just wanted to give voice and sort of explain a little bit. I've appreciated the honor of being the vice chair of this board. I'm gonna appreciate continuing to serve as a board member. My outside responsibilities, you all know, probably doesn't know that I have a full-time job. And my responsibilities in that role have unexpectedly grown very fast, and I've been asked to take on a bunch of things that have made it really, really hard for me to do the job really well. And so if I cannot do something well, then I don't think I should do it. I think I should step aside and let somebody who can do it well. So this may not be the last time I'm up on this part of the table, but it needs to be the last for these next couple of months.
All right, thank you. We'll just go down.
Yep, that sounds good. Hey, everybody. The first thing I'm gonna do tonight is thank you, Dr. Wirt. I know your decision to leave wasn't easy, and I've enjoyed working with you, and I'm excited to see what you do next, and I hope you'll stay in touch with us.
Thank you.
The Orange County Schools Teacher of the Year banquet was a wonderful showcase of our district's amazing talent. It was poignant and exciting. I really didn't expect my heart to be racing when they called finalists when we were waiting for the Teacher of the Year to be called, but it was really fun. It was a beautiful event, and just want to say congratulations to Miss Kelly Arnold again. A few weeks ago, the Exceptional Children's Games were hosted at Orange High. They were really inspirational. It was a ton of fun, and it was just a joy to be there. So thank you for everyone who participated in that. I was able to go to Cultural Explosion at Cedar Ridge this year for the first time, and I was really touched and moved by how many families and teachers and students were there sharing their culture, sharing their passion with other folks in our district. The booths were creative and informative, the performances were exciting, and I believe that the event really captured some of the most important work and some of the most important educational pieces that our kids get from being in public school. So I was just amazed by that. Okay, so on a much more somber note, I would be remiss if I failed to mention my deep sadness and concern that another act of gun violence has taken the lives of students at UNC Charlotte. Parents, community, please lock up your firearms, keep the ammunition locked in another location, check in with your kids. Our children are counting on you. Madam Chair, thank you for the work you've done this year. You have done so much to advance equitable outcomes for our students. I hope that this board will honor the position we elected you to last July so that you can fulfill your duties of this school year. And finally, I denounce any act of racism or hatred or discrimination in our schools.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
I also attended the joint Orange Chapel Hill County Commissioners meeting, attended the ad hoc CTE meeting and the policy meeting.
Yes, you did.
All right,
So first, I'd like to thank the staff for being able to put up all the board's resolutions to date on the website. I think that helps everybody see what we have posted and some of the things that we're very passionate about. I also attended the Teacher of the Year, a great event, and very appreciative of all of our teachers. The exceptional games, I'll just echo what everybody else said, it's great fun. I love seeing the kid volunteers helping other kids. Warms your heart to see that. Sheriff's Department. And also I was quite impressed with how fast Dr. Wirt could run. He really closed it out there for us, so I appreciate that. I did get a chance to, that same day, to visit CW Stanford and see one of their programming classes, one of their CTEs. Lots of amazing kids doing some amazing skills in the classroom, which is, at the end of the day, what's important to us. Got to see a lot of art projects too, that's now in the library. Culture Explosion was there as well. Staff, the teachers, importantly the community that was there, that set up, run, and was well attended. Enjoyed the performances by the students and some of the community members that came in, donated their time. And of course the food trucks was always well appreciated. I also got to attend the HES Spring Fling, lots of fun there. Got a basket, which was nice as well. One other thing that I got to do was, I got the chance today, I was at Cameron Park as a parent, and there was a group of junior, senior teachers from ECU that there's a collaboration between our system and theirs. They brought a huge bus down, and they were in the media center, and there was a panel of first-year teachers from our school system that was just talking to them about their first year experience, you know, panic, don't panic. And I got a moment when I was there. I was asked if I'd go in and say hi, and I did. So it was an honor for me to go in and talk to some of the future teachers and see the excitement on their faces of, you know, wanting to get into a school. So thank you for all of y'all's work with the collaboration. One program that I did want to mention that I learned about in our school system too is the First Responders Trust Program. This is a EC program focused at autistic kids that they bring in first responders like police, state troopers, fire, that they'll come in uniform and they'll meet with these kids. So if there's an emergency or some kind of situation, the kids aren't gonna run away from them. And there's been a lot of positive feedback on that program, so I'm very grateful that you know, these police, state troopers, and fire department are taking time out to spend time with our children. The last thing I was gonna mention is there is an initiative here in Orange County on the tech side, open broadband. I definitely would like to see how the school board could partner with the county or the library or others to see how we can bring some of this broadband home to kids, especially since we do have computers with every child and their Chromebooks and they need internet to run. So I think there's a great opportunity that if we think through it, how we can enable some of these kids that don't have internet access now to bring home a device that they can plug in and now have internet for their family. That's it. Thank you, Chair.
Great, thank you. So with that said, the mayor approached me a few weeks ago regarding the broadband, and I punted that to the appropriate person, Dr. Wirt. And so he is working on that. So it's already in the works. Thank you, because I did not have that listed on my sheet. I attended all 4 committee meetings this month, and the collaboration was in Chapel Hill on the morning of the 11th. And that evening, and you didn't mention this, the 3 of us journeyed to Cedar Grove for a meeting and we met with Justice United. And I attended the monthly Nesbitt Board of Trustees meeting at the School Boards Association, as I am a trustee of Nesbitt, which is the North Carolina School Boards Trust. This quarter's Family Success Alliance was in Carborough at the Century Center, and we talked about orange transportation and identifying vacant space for meetings and, for offices and such. UNC Advisory Board met last week, and, well, of course, I'm the layperson because you have the head of all these departments, and here I am. But they're talking about, they're going to expand the hospital, and there's another wing that's gonna cost $100 million, and they're moving forward with that $100 million expansion. The joint BOCC and school board met to discuss our budgets, and the manager's recommendation is out. It looks promising, but it's not over till it's over. So, you know, we want, because June is not here yet. And everybody mentioned the exceptional children's games. It was extremely exceptional, but I tell you, the school board relay, we were pitiful, but you did a good job. But, you know, when Sarah touched you, it was as though she stuck a pin in you, because you took off. You did, so that explains it. That explains it. He really ran fast. And I would like to say, you know, a thank you to our community partners, because there were so many that came out and participated. And it was great seeing the Woolly Bull and Stormy, and I remember that from the news, like Stormy Daniels. All right, and congratulations. That's the only way that I could remember that little guy's name, you know. But he could run. Jesus, you know, it was like the school board members here. We didn't have anything, I mean, those costumes on, but those.
They didn't tell us we were running a relay though.
I know, but that's all right.
Running shoes.
I know, but Todd took care of it at the end.
Brought it home.
Yes, he did. He brought it home, and we appreciate that. And lastly, I will say I did enjoy the dinner last week with Teacher of the Year. Congratulations to Kelly Arnold. But I really enjoyed the hummingbirds. They were phenomenal.
Our drinks were full.
I know, our glasses were always filled.
They were great.
You know, we didn't have to wait it, and I appreciate that. It was a great event. So thank you. So the next item on our agenda, well, do you have some comments?
Just a few.
Just
Yes,
a
ma'am. I'll
few?
be brief. Some of mine have been said. Certainly congratulations to Kelly and all of our teachers of the year. I do want to thank our HR staff and our corporate partners, BB&T and Strawbridge, that help us put that event
That's
on.
important.
What hasn't been mentioned, which is great, is that this is Teacher Appreciation Week. And on behalf of all of us, I want to let our teachers know how much we appreciate you, your dedication, your commitment to our students and the families of Orange County. I'm proud that this board over the last few years has done a lot of actionable things, I think, that mean something to teachers. Improved compensation through increased supplements, provided vision insurance to all employees, started a self-funded dental program that someday could very well result in a funded dental program for our workforce, and this year pursuing paid maternity and paternity leave for our employees. So those are some things that we do here for our employees that other districts just don't. So I hope tonight that our teachers feel valued. I hope the members of our community that are here tonight and those that are watching online will take the time this week to go out of your way to thank teachers in our community. A small act of kindness means an awful lot to teachers.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Speaking of teachers, perhaps you all have read this, perhaps you haven't, but if you've, I read with the bill over in Raleigh, our politicians over there are trying to sneak in a little provision to prohibit us from closing schools on a day for them to go over. We can only close schools if there's a disaster or an emergency or such. So, boy, they always find a way, but so do we. So next, we're going to, I'm gonna ask for a motion for the consent agenda. Before I do, I'm going to pull B, the personnel report. But anything else for anybody? Do you get a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and so we will vote on it separately, and I will call the vote on the personnel report. I just don't, there's one item in there that I have a level of discomfort with, so I just thought I would just pull that. and just vote against it. So could I get a motion to accept the personnel report, because we've got people who need to get their jobs done here?
Yep, motion to approve the personnel report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So you're looking quizzical. I'm going on record objecting, and I spoke to the attorney, rather than, putting someone on blast. I'm not gonna do that.
She just voted against the personnel report, but
Yeah.
really, because she had a concern about one individual.
One individual,
That's fine.
so that's fine. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the North Carolina School Boards Association Superintendent Search Consulting Agreement. And so where is Allison?
She's
She-
coming in.
she's coming.
Allison, are you on your way?
Yes.
All right. Are you bringing Sam with you? Wonderful. Okay, thank you. And I have excused the superintendent as a courtesy.
Go watch it online.
He's gonna watch it all.
He's gonna eat popcorn.
That's all right. How would you know?
So while they're getting themselves together, let me just say that Allison Schaefer is from the North Carolina School Boards Association, and she's worked with us on several, well, since I've been on the board, I've gone through 3 superintendent searches with Allison and her firm, and Steve, you've probably been through a couple as well.
Yeah.
Because one I went through, you were
Tony
with me,
has to.
and Tony. So, yes?
Madam Chair, so I know that the School Board Association is here to go through the superintendent search process, but the item before that is sort of approval of the agreement with the School Boards Association. So I just wanted to first take that up. That's,
Let's, do we have any discussion concerning that agreement? Do you have any questions, anyone?
I just have a comment, is that, and it's not necessarily to change anything in the contract. I have high confidence in the School Board Association, but I would like to see in any future contracts that we refer to our standard travel and per diem and those kind of things. Therefore, people will be held to our standard versus what theirs may be. That's the only
Okay.
comment I had.
All right. Well, thank you. So with that said,
Not a motion.
Second.
I
Oh,
motion.
no.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you, so ordered. We have that done.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So I have actually draft copies that have been signed by our executive director,
Okay,
that I will hand up to
all right.
you.
Let me
and-
see.
well, you're good at locking them in. If they approve it, here, sign.
Uh-huh.
Here's your pen.
Look at that.
We need
both
to sign,
sides.
sign, both of them back to us, and your finance
We need to
officer
get
will
the-
need to.
All right.
Finance officer's here.
Is she's here. Well, once we do that, we will, send it back.
Most efficient execution of a
Boy,
contract
I
I've ever
tell you
seen.
what, and very transparent, everybody's watching, okay.
So you just need to have the finance officer attest that there is sufficient funds to pay that. That's the law, that's why she.
Pre-audit
has to sign it
statement,
too.
yes indeed.
Thank you very much.
And we just need one back, you don't have to execute it tonight.
All right,
The superintendent, I think, needs to sign it as an attest.
all right, we'll have him to do that tonight, we'll get it done tonight.
So thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your confidence in us and in the process that we've used before. I wanted to make sure everyone knew Sam Thorpe, who's a staff attorney with me. Sam will be working with me on this project. We look forward to working with the board, although it's always a bittersweet kind of time that you're changing over superintendents. So we have for you, we have sent to the board ahead of time some of the documents we would need to approve to get the search started, and because your superintendent is departing relatively imminently, this is just a copy of what we had sent out before, so that you can follow along. So we just wanted to go through, in order to get the search started, we will need approval of certain documents to get the search started. And I'm also here to talk to you about the process. I know you board members have not been through this process before. So, very briefly, on the left-hand side is just an information about our search service. And that's for you to just kind of describe what we do, and we can go through that briefly. And then on the right-hand side are the documents that we will need approval of. And I'm gonna take those in order.
Okay.
So the first document is the cover letter, we'll skip that, and we're gonna go to the timeline. And I wanna make sure I answer all the board members, especially the new board members' questions about the process. So, It generally takes about 4 to 6 months to do a superintendent search. And this draft timeline reflects that. The only thing on this timeline that we actually need approval of is the actual due date of the applications. And that is because we have to advertise that date. We normally recommend about 8 weeks of advertising. We find that more than 8 weeks and you don't get any more applications. Less than 8 weeks, you start to see less applications. So that's a good amount of time to get the word out, to get people to research the district, and to get people interested in filling out an application, which is an online application now that we have. It's all this is done online. And so we, today would be the first step on there would be to approve the initial documents. Tomorrow we would begin advertising the vacancy, and we need to go through the advertising process too. During the time when you're advertising, that's a good time to do community surveys and community input and public forums if you choose to do that. And we can talk about that in more detail, but there are some sample surveys in here that we would like to work through. So the process in North Carolina for selecting a superintendent is a confidential process once you see the applications. All the documents that folks submit are confidential. The names of the people who are applying are confidential. So we do the public input is very important, staff input is very important. So we do encourage you to get that before you see the applications so that you can consider that as you review the applications and you can consider the concerns and comments. And what we do recommend is that you wait to develop your profile until after you have had that input. But that can be all going on while you're advertising the position generally. So that's more efficient, especially when you have a superintendent department like this. So basically we have 8 weeks, and during that time that it's quiet in terms of the candidates learning about the district, we also recommend you have surveys and public input and all that kind of stuff during that time.
Yes, Hillary.
How are those administered?
Okay, we have an online survey that we have when we recommend, and again, that's gonna come later to approve that, but we recommend that you have a separate staff and a separate community survey that ask basically the same questions. We provided 2 different samples for you that are sets, and we'll talk about that at the end of this process, but there's an online survey, it's publicized. We can send you a format, you can run off paper copies for those folks that may not have access.
So it's our job to administer it to the community.
Well, there's 2 ways, there's 2. There's the staff survey, which you can communicate internally, and then we usually work with your PR staff to get up in the newspapers, we send sample press releases, we help you. Your school website would be where you would post a link to the surveys, so it would just be on your website, and you can get that link out wide with the help of your public relations staff. Yes, and
Okay.
we also do social media and that kind of stuff. So we work with your public relations staff, but they know who to contact in the community to get the word out.
And are these anonymous or are these?
They're anonymous but not confidential under state law, which means that the results are going to be public, except who fills them out is confidential. We don't even know who fills them out. So except that if all of our surveys have an open-ended section to them, where people can write in whatever they want to, and we have to redact out names of individuals that may appear in those surveys. So that part is confidential and anonymous. But if somebody says, please hire so-and-so, or don't hire so-and-so, or we like so-and-so, or we don't like so-and-so, then that stuff has to be by law redacted out, because that's personnel information once it's received by the board, okay? So it's a little complicated answer to your question, but the results, we will compile for you and come back and report publicly at a meeting after the survey's closed. Many boards also choose to do public forums, 1 or 2, I don't know, this district this size, 1 or 2 is probably sufficient, and or use the public comment section of their board meeting to invite people to make comments. And then the third thing that we do often recommend is that you allow organizations that have that want to make organizational statements, that you allow them to submit those to us as part of our report. So if your Chamber of Commerce wants to make an organizational statement about what they want to see in a new superintendent, that would be part of this process as well. So if your PTA meets and they want to have their board of directors make an organizational statement, that kind of stuff. So we try to encourage you to get input as many ways as possible.
Right, we'll have questions.
Yes, ma'am. So just from a timing standpoint, just to understand how, so you do the advertising of vacancy publicly, but you don't take applicants until we finish profiling?
No,
or-
no, no, the applications come in all the time. The profiling is really for, we don't think it should, we think it's better if you don't slow it down while you get all the input that you need. You don't really have the luxury of a ton of time.
Right.
So what we say is go ahead and advertise, we accept, the applications will be open tomorrow if we get approval, and people can start applying as early as tomorrow. And the advertisements will go out tomorrow as well. So we're really quick about getting those out. In the meantime, you do the input, and that input is used for you to develop a profile for you to use as you go through the applications. So you'll have that profile to develop before you see any applications.
So this may sound silly, but we're just gonna say superintendent opening and they start applying?
No, we have a draft we have a draft advertisement in here for you.
Okay, cause it seems like the board would put, you know, we're looking for a strong leader that's going to help drive our racial equity policy, for example, as part of that announcement, or?
Yes, and
Okay.
and we will go through that advertisement tonight and make sure it says what you want it to say.
Okay, perfect.
But in terms of the profile about what you all
The specific
come to a
skills.
consensus you're looking
Okay.
for, that would come later.
Okay,
So
thank you.
the advertisement is in these materials for you to edit and
Right.
edit away, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, so all that's going on at the same time. It's gonna be quiet in terms of applicants while you're doing community and public input, we're doing staff input. So we have proposed July 7th as an application deadline. That's about 60 days from now, okay? And that's actually a good time. You think about the holidays, it's not really a good time, but these are busy people, so that's a perfect time. They've closed their school out, the year out, and they have a weekend, a holiday weekend to complete their applications. It takes us about 10 days to do all the preparation of the applications. As I said, they're all online. We have to download them, we have to add a bunch of stuff. So we add things like, we do an internet search of every single candidate. That takes time, but we have found that that's important information for you to have to consider as you're considering applications. If somebody's been named superintendent of the year, or if they have been bought out, their company's been bought out, whatever those kinds of things, it's important for you to know about that as you consider applications. We also collect test scores from their current districts. We do some structural documents, like we do what we call an experience chart, which is a really important document. It's just kind of like, this person has this many years of experience as superintendent, this many districts and this size of districts, just for you to kind of use that as a go by who's who, to keep track of everybody, and we do some work like that. So it takes us about 10 days to do that, and then, so we're looking at giving you your applications around the 22nd of July. And then the board gets several weeks to look at the applications.
Mhm.
So that would take us into early August. And I know some of you have said you were gonna be away, or some of you are gonna be away during that time of July, but this will take you into July, and we can push that date back. The only thing that we would say is not movable on here is the application deadline. So if you need another week or so to look at applications, that's fine
So
too.
the other dates are more like guidelines
Yeah, they're
that can
guidelines,
be
just kind of, these are the
changed and so on.
steps, and this is about
So
how
the-
much time is reasonable. So then we would have a meeting on applications. We've again tentatively put August 5th. And then the board needs to decide who they want to interview. We normally recommend between 7 and 10 folks to interview. More than 10, you get overwhelmed. Less than 7, you feel like you don't have much of a choice. But that's just a target. Some boards choose more or less. And then we need about 2 weeks to get the application, for the folks who are going to be interviewed to arrange to come here. We normally suggest a presentation question for the applicants, so they need time to prepare those. That's a really important thing, because it allows you to see a superintendent as they normally function, which is researching data and giving recommendations to the board about how to move forward. So that's an important part of it.
One thing
And
I
then-
just wanna add, that the board reviews, that's all done confidentially, individually
Once you-
with online stuff, and then you meet, that's when you meet, so that's listed as the August 5th date on there. And the only thing I wanna mention, that's not one of your regularly scheduled meetings. Your meeting would be the 12th, so that just.
But we normally do it not on a regular meeting,
Okay.
Right.
because it takes about an hour and a half to go through all that, to discuss who I interviewed, to decide everything else, and it's a confidential meeting, so, once you get the applications, the meetings are, to meet the applicants and everything, are closed session meetings, which is why you need your input ahead of time, so you can consider that as you make the decisions. Because in our laws in North Carolina, the board is the sole decision maker about who it's gonna hire. That's specific in the law. So, that's important, it's important to have the input ahead of time.
Excuse
So,
me,
yeah.
Matthew, do you have something you wanted to jump in?
So,
Tell.
we'll stay, you mentioned that you're gonna review this superintendent's current district's, test results. Can you get that broke down by demographics?
If it's available that way, it depends on the state, it depends on what's available online, so, we will get you what we can. Okay, so then you get the applications, you have a chance to review them, you come together independently, as Jonathan just said, you come together independently with your list, so it's important, the idea is for each of you to have your own opinions and not consult with each other until you come together. And then we'll facilitate those meetings, where you come together. We are very, 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 very careful not to weigh in on the substantive decisions. That is the board's province under the law. You are the sole decision makers on the substance of who you wanna hire. We respect that. We're the School Boards Association, we're board advocates, and we feel like that's what you're elected to do. So while we will facilitate meetings, we do not recommend a slate of candidates. We do not tell you our opinions. For all purposes of this, we don't have opinions. We just are here to get you great candidates, a great process, and a good information about those candidates. That's our role. Good candidates, a great process, and a good information about the candidates, so you can make a well-informed decision. Okay, so then you will meet and interview, again, consistent with our philosophy. We do not sit in on the interviews. It's the board's decision, and we don't want anyone to look at us, the candidates to look at us and say, well, I applied, why didn't you get me in there? You know, that's not our role. So, again, it's the board's decision. So we will facilitate the interviews, we'll make sure you're not disturbed, we'll get the candidates in and out, but we don't sit in. And then, usually, so, you know, you're interviewing 7 to 10, usually narrow it down to 3 or 4 people, as finalists after the first interviews. And in between the first and second interviews, there will be a thorough background check, and we can talk about that in more detail. But that's when you do a lot of due diligence, and again, we can talk about that, we don't need to go into details. And then generally, you meet for second interviews and decide who you wanna hire, and then at that point, we're not your lawyers, so even though we are lawyers, we're not lawyers that represent you directly for purposes of this. So Jonathan, your board attorney, will take over the negotiations of the contract, with, the candidate, and then there will be a contract discussions, for about a week or so, and then an announcement and introduction of the superintendent, once you've decided on the terms and agreed upon them. It's really important to have that person here to introduce them to your public and your staff at that meeting. And then usually they need about a month to give notice of their other jobs. That's why we have October 23rd as the target date. I went through that really fast, but I wanted to make sure you all, that especially you new folks, understood kind of the process so that there weren't any questions.
Sarah's got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's my question. A new superintendent starting in October, like, is someone who is doing a great job somewhere else gonna leave their district to come here, like, shortly after a school year has started?
Yes.
Like, yes, that happens. Okay,
Yes.
Cause I know there's generally a cycle for these things. I don't wanna miss out on a top candidate who's like, oh, I'm so committed to following things through or something.
It's, if they wanna be here,
Okay.
or they wanna be switching positions,
Right.
that's not a barrier.
Okay.
I mean, there are candidates who want, if it's like in April or May, they wanna finish the school year, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Okay.
But usually not that early in the school year, is it a problem? I will say that one of the benefits you have is that most of the openings are in the spring, because people who are retiring do that at the end of the school year. So you're gonna have not as many open positions to compete on. So.
Yes, ma'am.
One thing I wanted to circle back to about community input and surveys was requesting that we have those available in Spanish also.
We do that, we're
Excellent.
happy to do that.
Thank you very much.
We will need to consult with your Spanish language staff to make sure that whatever dialects are used here, that's consistent.
Perfect, thank you.
Great. Good question.
When we can have that available electronically and in paper form. Okay, okay, so that's just a general overview for those of you that it's probably old news, but those of you that have been through it before, but that's generally the way the steps go. This is your process though, if you want to change something or have more time to do something or whatever, it's your process, and we're just here to say, we found this works over the years, but if you wanna do it differently, we can certainly talk about that. So, but that's generally consistent with the law and the quickest timeline that's reasonable to do, we think that about 6 months is about. So, okay, so the first, thing, is the advertisement. We've come up with a draft
Can
advertisement.
I just stop you? Did you want a motion about the July 7th?
Oh, yes, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so with all that said, if July 7th sounds appropriate for you for the deadline, we would need an approval of that.
Motion to approve deadline.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's our deadline.
The next, to segue into your thing, is, here's the draft advertisement that we have come up with. Again, remember, you haven't been through a profile process, but if there's anything that needs to be added or taken away, we'll go through this, paragraph by paragraph, just to explain what is there. And Sam drafted this, so if there's anything that you wanna add, please let me know. So the first one is just says we're seeking a superintendent, and, you have to meet the guidelines to be able to serve as a superintendent. That's pretty routine stuff. It says central office and building level experience are preferred, but not required, because you don't wanna eliminate a candidate who doesn't have something specific when they're otherwise very ideal. And then a doctorate degree or progress or doctorate degree is preferred, again, but not required, because we've had great candidates that are in process, but not. So that's kind of what we recommend. And then by law, you have to live in Orange County, and we have a date there. So is there anything else, questions about that?
Yeah. I mean, I would prefer to take out the doctorate preferred language. My case for that is that we might knock out, some exceptional candidates who haven't prioritized going back to school in that way, but who have excellent track record. I'm most interested in somebody with like an excellent track record, especially in moving equity work forward.
Okay, in order to get a license, you do have to have a doctorate.
You have to have a doctorate to be a superintendent?
Or unless you're gonna do an alternative licensure, so, an alternative, it's not even alternative licensure, unless you're gonna go under the alternative guidelines. So, it's, and again, you're not saying it's required.
Right,
You're saying
so to
it's
be a
preferred.
superintendent, a doctorate?
To
is
be a
what-
have a superintendent license, you have to have a doctorate or an EDD, which is a,
Okay.
is a
Still a doctorate.
education specialist degree. So
Okay.
you can hire someone without a license, but you have to go
Right.
through another process. So-
I'm okay, yeah, okay,
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. And we can talk about that more, but I don't think it's gonna chase anyone away if it says preferred instead of required.
Yeah, when you say
Okay.
preferred,
Okay.
yeah, required would chase them away.
Exactly.
Preferred will not.
That's why the preferred language, you say, we'd like to see this, but if we don't have it, it's not gonna get you.
Wanna make sure we don't knock out.
Okay, this and maybe, this is maybe one of the areas you wanna add something, the successful candidate must demonstrate ability and success in, and we've listed pretty much the things that you would wanna see in a perfect human being who might be your superintendent, but is there anything you wanna take away or add to this list of things that you think are important, and you had mentioned an equity issue?
I would be interested in, under number 9, scratching the word orderly and changing that to equitable.
Okay, so leadership in maintaining safe and equitable school environment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I had a different idea for that one, which I think could just be a different item potentially, which was, instead of safe and orderly, was leadership in building engaging, achievement-focused school cultures.
Could you repeat that and we'll make it a separate item?
Leadership in building engaging, achievement-focused school cultures.
That's not instead of the one that's
No.
here.
No, cause I mean, I had a different idea for how to work in equity,
Right,
but I think.
but I think better.
Yeah.
Leadership in developing engaging,
Achievement-focused.
achievement-focused.
School cultures.
Okay, we'll add that one in.
All right, so that will make 11, 12.
12, that's fine.
A dozen, okay? I just wanted to keep up.
This isn't some kind of priority ordering, is it?
No. Okay, good.
It's just giving some idea of what the board's focus is.
Well, because have had so many discussions about the equity matter,
Mm-hmm.
then we need, if it were a priority, we need to move it up.
Right.
Is what I'm saying, that should come right up there between 1 and 2
Okay.
as a consideration, I'm just throwing that out there.
We could move number 9 up to become number 2.
Okay.
Could I, suggest a change to it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's something about the maintaining safe and equitable that I just don't like why are those two words together? So, I thought we could say leadership of educational equity change efforts. Like, I think this is sort of kind of a change effort in equity. And so, there's something about the safe and
Yeah, I know what you
equitable
mean.
that feels
Yeah.
funky to me. So I'd prefer the equity to be a separate item, just like leadership in educational equity efforts.
Yeah.
And have it be like the second thing after visionary educational
Yeah,
leadership.
because you're using safety there, meaning a safe school environment.
Right.
Okay, so number 2 would be leadership in educational equity efforts.
Equity change.
Equity change.
Change.
Depending on how
Yes.
I feel
Okay,
about that
yeah.
one.
Okay, all right, is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll add that one and take the word, do you wanna take the word orderly out of the,
Just keep that.
or keep it as it is, or just take in maintaining safe school environments and take the orderly
I
out?
think safe school environments.
Safe,
is
just
appropriate.
take and
Safe,
orderly out.
yeah.
I think safe is
Yeah.
appropriate.
Okay, all right, we got that.
So one question I have is, we're looking at doing a major redistricting, but we don't highlight their experience in doing that. I mean, it seems like we would want to say, experience in redistricting or something to that effect. I mean, any feelings from anybody else?
I've been assured Dr. Henry is perfectly able to lead us through it.
That's right.
It all depends who assured you.
Someone we all know and trust.
Somebody in the military. Yeah, so,
No pressure. No, just kidding.
Would that be a detractor from
I
candidates,
think
or?
it's fine to say experience in school redistricting.
Okay.
So under five, you've got organization, administration of short-term, long-term strategic planning, budgeting. Would you wanna put redistricting there, comma, and personnel and facilities management?
I actually think you need to take it out, take number 7 out, because I had a question with that in procuring additional funding. Whatever we get from the county commissioners is what we're gonna get, so how's the superintendent gonna come up with additional
The
funding?
idea was grant funding
Yeah,
or
grants.
community
Uh-huh.
donations, so do you wanna leave that in or keep it out? Do you-
I also,
Oh, go ahead, no, go ahead.
I also had that as like, maybe we take it out, cause to your
Yeah.
point, it is like a laundry list. And
Yeah.
I do
Right.
wanna make sure that people
Right.
focus on like
The
the
things
The
things
big
that are
ones.
important,
Right.
That's
you know?
fine,
Okay.
that's fine. Some boards, I mean, this was a menu, you don't have to order all of it.
Right.
So, that's the idea, is we wanted to make sure it says what you want, so we've added some items, we'll take that one out, okay?
But that's where you could actually put that redistricting or whatever you wanted to put there.
Yeah, okay.
no.
That's a
I thought-
separate item.
No, that's different.
Well, I will, so we have experience in redistricting schools.
Yeah.
I have a suggestion for the one, strong communication skills and effective team building. I would like for us to add there, including across multiple lines of difference.
Including all across multiple language differences.
Multiple lines of difference, or including with diverse constituencies, or there's something about, strong communication skills and effective team building of diverse groups, or across lines of difference. And then I didn't really know if we needed number 10 either. It was planning and funding of school facilities.
That's an issue for you all,
I mean,
take it out.
Planning, well,
Oh, that's, I think that's kind of important.
It is.
Yeah.
it is important, because, we would kind of put that on the table, and we wouldn't want that to be a surprise to anyone.
Right.
if that's
Not
part of
like
what it
And
is.
that's something that,
Yeah.
I think
That's a
adding
big
district
one.
is a key.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right,
is that everything?
for that
We will
paragraph.
drop that up and get it out to you to tear apart again.
So you don't need
Okay.
approval on this tonight?
I will,
Okay.
all right, but
So-
with the changes as recommended.
Motion to approve the changes.
Second.
Wait, sorry, what?
Wait, don't be there, give me a second.
You're approving.
Oh, you have more things, discuss.
In the
Adjustment with change.
Yeah, in this
With the
document.
changes, right.
As directed, in the changes.
So they
I have
can post
additional
it.
things
Excuse me,
further on.
all right, excuse me, everybody. Sarah has more to add, all right?
Okay, so we're going paragraph by paragraph. So the next paragraph is, this describes the school board and the school system. And we wanna make sure that's correct. Is there anything in here that is not correct? Or that you want to change?
I have a couple of suggestions. One
Okay.
is, it says including year-round and STEM schools of choice. We also have some global schools of choice. So I would add that. In the next line, it says APIB and vocational programs, and I would say career and technical education. I'm assuming that term translates across different states at this point, okay. And then.
Did you get those, Sam? Got it.
The sentence, there's a sentence that's like, the school system is known for its innovative and award-winning programs, in particular the district's one-to-one laptop initiative. That feels like a little, not like the thing that I would prefer to focus on in this. The thing that I'd prefer to focus on is the equity work. A version that I have of that sentence says something like, in partnership with the community, the school system is beginning a comprehensive effort to achieve more equitable outcomes for all students. With the recent unanimous passage of one of the first equity policies in the state, I think that's true, the creation of a chief equity officer position and the investment in equity-focused professional development for staff. We sort of say like, our thing at this moment is we are about to embark on some big equity work, and that's what we want. We want people who are attracted to that.
If you have that written, can we?
I sure can.
Okay, because rather than sit here and write it out.
Yeah, we can see what other people think about it too. That's just like a.
Okay, that's instead of the school system is known for, just take that whole sentence out and replace it with which.
Yeah.
I would.
Is everybody okay with that on the board?
That's something you could just email.
Yeah, she's gonna send it right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this one's connected. I may need to do it after this meeting.
That's fine, just so we get it. Okay?
Wait a minute, Hillary,
I'm not sure I wanna say it, so I'm good for the moment.
we don't make a move next time.
Sorry?
It's like an auction. All right, so,
Anything else in that paragraph that folks want to see?
okay.
Okay, the last one is, the next paragraph is just came out of your Chamber of Commerce website, Sam, is that right?
Mhm.
about.
It just describes the county, where it's located, populations, okay.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
We have suggested websites for information. And then just where you could go to fill out the application, the last paragraph is just routine. Okay? Everybody feel like that's captures what you want it to capture?
Good start.
This is the beginning, not the end.
That's right.
Okay, so we do need approval of that with the changes asked for by the board. I'd like you to, if you wanna just give your chair, or your chair and vice chair the authority to, look it over. Do you wanna go back to all of the board members or comments, or,
What are you talking about? Once, Sam, merges this
yeah,
and
we wanted
other?
somebody to look it over, and then also.
Make sure we capture all the changes.
Capture everything. All right, that'll be fine.
So the motion,
Yes.
motion.
Yes,
would
that's
be-
right.
We're gonna go back to the full board?
Motion to approve it with the changes, and coming back out to the full board?
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
reply directly to us, not to each other,
Right.
not,
Right.
not
Yeah.
board
Right.
meeting, just, if you have any concerns, we'll tweak it.
Correct.
And also just give us the authority to work with your PR,
Right.
person to, make sure that all the information in here is correct.
All right. Well, state your unreadiness, Atherton.
No, I just noticed that they wanna start on the 7th and we're on the 6th, so this would be turned around like tomorrow, and then we would
Yes.
need to
Uh-huh.
say by noon
Yeah.
if you have a concern or something.
Right.
I just wanna make sure we're all on board on timing,
Yeah.
cause it's really quick.
Yeah.
And if we don't get it finished till the 8th, it's just one day, but we do need to get it within a day or two.
Right. I get it.
Hopefully tomorrow, so we can start that, cause this is the thing we sent out.
Mhm.
Okay, so, did we,
No, I don't think we have a motion and second and approval yet.
okay,
I made a motion.
Yeah, she made the motion,
Second.
and then she made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
okay,
We have it.
all right. Okay, so, this goes to an issue you had about the cost issue, you know, but when we have proposed costs, we bring those back to the board. So, the few things that we, you know, have is we have certainly copies and all that stuff, that's charged, but most of the expenses, we actually bring that to the board and let you decide whether you wanna incur those expenses and how much. So, the next page, the next document is advertising. We do recommend one paid place, and that is all. And that is the American Association of School Administrators for 60 days in this particular case, since you're going with a 2-month advertisement. thing, and that would be $799. Back in the days when I was an attorney at Barrington Smith, that was what it cost to put one ad in a local newspaper that didn't reach the audience that you wanted. This way, on the internet, you reach almost everybody, and this is picked up by other sources. So the rest of this stuff, we recommend that goes out for free. National School Board Associations, our website, other state school board associations, we're members of this group called NAS, which is the National Affiliation of Superintendent Associations. We all share each other's advertisements. We have links to all 40 of the states that are members. So our association of school administrators and other superintendents associations in the area, we also send it out through DPI to all the superintendents in the state, and with all of the HR directors in the state, and through Department of Public Instruction. And again, you see all these places it's all free, so. So that's, and then the second page, we just finished
Ms.
this
Roberts
document.
had a, and then the other,
Yeah,
No, I didn't.
okay.
were you, reaching out to the North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia Association of Superintendents?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think we should probably reach out to Tennessee and Georgia
Tennessee?
too, and Georgia.
all our border states.
Yep.
We work closely with both Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, and Virginia, and we all communicate a lot back and forth, so we're happy to do that. The second page is, other paid places you may want to choose to advertise. And they tend to be more specialized. Some boards want these additional places to advertise, some are more concerned about keeping the cost down. But they include school jobs, American Association of School Personnel Administrators, Chronicle of Higher Education, if you're interested in higher education potential candidates, the National Alliance of Black School Educators, and the Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents.
I'm thinking the last two. I'm thinking of the last two. Yeah.
That's true.
Okay? Again, we offer these options
Right.
to target specific audiences. And, by the way, the Broden Center, which is free, is a non-traditional candidate.
Okay.
Group.
So just some clarity on this. So these will be advertisements that points back to your site that would have the profile, or these would be where we would do the advertising of vacancy, then do your profile?
Those
This
things.
goes with.
Okay,
That's
that would
what's
go with
going.
it, that would point back to yours. The other one is, on the last two on the last page, one is for 30 days and one is for 6 weeks. I think we want the 60 days as well,
Yeah.
right?
At least 60 days.
Yeah, 60.
Well, 60 is all your
60 is all we
advertisements.
have.
Yeah.
So you want to be, the National Alliance of Black School Educators would be twice that, then.
Correct.
your
Yes,
6
correct.
weeks. Okay, got it. The 6 weeks, it's either 6 weeks or 12 weeks.
Right, it's 6 weeks,
or,
that's
you know,
fine.
I think
Yeah.
6
I think
weeks
6
is,
weeks is
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, the last week, people should know about it already, because they're gonna have to fill out the application. So we would
Mhm.
probably put that right in the middle, wait a week, give it 6
Perfect.
weeks, and then have a weekend.
Good.
That makes sense.
Okay, so we would need a motion to approve page 1 and the last 2 items on page 2, but with 60 days for the National Alliance of Black School Educators.
And adding to the first page, the other border states.
And the border states, and Tennessee and Georgia.
In the border states.
So motion to approve with everything we just discussed.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. So now we have that one.
Next thing is the application. This is a routine application in many places. It's where you worked, where you gone to school, what organizations do you belong to, have you ever committed a crime, normal, typical stuff. However, there are 2 pages that we ask the board to tailor the application to your own, to what you want to get at. Now, remember, the application is a screening document. It is a document that is designed to give you information that will allow you to choose to see whether you want to interview somebody or not. So we can't, so on pages 9 and 10, we ask that you choose some short answers. They can be these or something else, but we don't want you to have 10, because that's too many. You can't expect someone to answer every possible question about everything that you might want to know about. That's what the interviews are for. So what we would ask that you do is we suggest between 4 and 6 short answer questions about accomplishments and experiences, and choose what you think are the most important things that will allow you to screen when you get the applications. So 10 is too many. So, yeah, there are things that you don't if you're interested in particular about, and you can reword these if you want to, these are just some ideas. Remember, this is experience and accomplishments.
All right,
Can I
Sierra.
ask a question here? When you say, you want 4 to 6, is that just from the short answer page?
Yes, the
Or-
next page we would suggest 3 or 4.
Okay.
So, I know equity is a big issue, there's things about successful working with diverse populations, we could reword that, or instructional leadership. You know, again, we can put that wherever you want, if you wanna add that in, or augment one of these.
I'd like to add an equity question to the essay section where it's a little bit more extensive.
Okay. Which is the next.
Would you suggest that we cover different topics in the short answer and then the essay? Okay.
Remember, this is experience and accomplishments as opposed to other questions.
Mm-hmm. Experience and accomplishments. Got another question?
No, I was just gonna propose.
Anybody have anything that they feel?
All right, okay. She was gonna propose something.
Okay, great.
If everybody else has looked already. I mean, I don't really know how else we go about this.
No, that's,
Yeah,
just
that's
throw
good.
what you're interested in.
I feel like the ones that stood out to me were 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8.
Well,
So instructional leadership,
okay.
personnel relations, administration. What I really mean there is, I might actually mean organizational planning and team building feel like 2 different ideas to me. Personnel relations, administration, I mean more sort of like getting the right people in place. Like building effective teams, something like that, instead of personnel relations.
So that would go under more number 5. Building effective teams is team building.
Is that what that is? Is that
Yes.
what that is?
Yeah. It does. So, well, did you, leave out both the ones concerning money, finance, budgeting?
I like 10.
Yeah, cause we
Like
can't,
that.
we can't leave, we can't
Yeah.
leave
I think
both,
so.
we've got,
Yeah. That's gotta be one of
it's
the main.
imperative
Yeah.
that we
Okay.
have,
I was sort of thinking, well, we have a chief financial officer.
No.
But
No.
you're totally right. The
There's a
money's-
political piece
Yeah.
involved
There's a
in
lot
10,
there.
that's not the
Yeah.
purview of the
That's
finance
right.
officer.
that's right.
Superintendent.
So 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10.
Yeah, we want to
1,
add
2,
10.
1 and 2.
Well, let's combine 2 and 10.
Yeah,
It's,
2 and 10 can be, yeah.
Yeah.
This financial planning and funding funding of schools, including funding and facilities, or something like that?
Yes,
Yeah,
including
yes, so.
funding facilities.
And that we'll take those pieces of 2, and so in number 10 to be financial planning and funding of schools, including funding of school facilities.
Mm-hmm,
Does that work?
mm-hmm.
That sounds good.
So we did get number 4 in there.
Number 4 is goal setting and monitoring student achievement.
Feels really important.
Okay. Can we combine 1 and 4?
Yes.
Yep.
Could we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that'll be 6. So we'll combine 1 and 4. We've got number 3, number 5, and I added the word effective, organizational planning and effective team building. Do you wanna combine 3 and 5 as well?
That would work.
We okay?
Yeah. Yeah, they're in the same area.
Yeah. Okay, and then community relations and intergovernmental
Yeah.
partnerships.
Relationships.
Number 8 is success in working with diverse populations, and then 10 is financial planning that we just discussed.
Right,
Number
yeah.
Good with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Essays,
Okay,
this editing by committee, this has to be.
right, yeah.
Give us, tell us what you want, and we'll fix it. Okay, so the next thing is essays, we have 6 there, we recommend 3 or 4 at the most. So, are you interested in any particular things here, and that sounds like
Equity
you have an
inclusion.
equity question, what?
Equity and inclusion.
I'm also interested in number 2. Board and
Do
superintendent.
number 2 about about the board and the superintendent working together to support each other.
Number one or two, equity also, but my number one is raise student achievement. Item 3.
Do you want it? Okay. So why, let's take out why you're interested in leaving your current position. Doesn't seem to be getting any traction.
Okay.
Well,
Isn't that kind
I
of
think that's pretty important to know.
Yeah.
I mean, if they are, I mean,
Remember
it
this
may
is,
not be obvious.
remember this is a screening document, so that's a question you could actually ask
Right.
In person.
In person,
That's fair.
right.
That's fair.
Tell us a little bit about why you're interested in this position. So,
Sure.
remember, we can't do everything in the application, you have to
Mhm.
save something for the interview, so. Okay, so number one is a question on equity and inclusion. If you have specific language, I'd be happy to hear that.
I have a draft question, I'll read it out loud.
Mhm.
The district is beginning a comprehensive effort to increase educational equity and eliminate differences in student outcomes and experiences. How has your past experience prepared you to lead this work? What steps would you take in your first X number of months?
Okay. We could add
What do you
that.
think
and
about that?
that's
What
fine.
do others think about that?
Uh-huh, that's good.
That's
I think
fair.
just, again, could you just email it?
Sure, I will email it to you.
Whatever, email, text.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so we have equity and inclusion question as described. Number two, how the board and superintendent should work together. Number three, what would you do to raise student achievement levels and help close achievement gaps? Anything else, or that's plenty, if that's.
It's plenty, yeah.
Observations first.
The other things, like I said, we can ask them in the, okay, with the application, with the edits as described, if we could get approval for that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
We will also send the draft numbers out tomorrow to just make sure we capture what we
Right.
want. But we first need Sarah's.
I will send them tonight after the meeting. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Last item, I'm trying to get through this as efficiently as possible.
Doing great.
So we have two sets of potential surveys.
Mhm.
One is just a, is this important or not, kind of survey. And each have a staff and a community that are separate than the demographic questions. The substantive questions are saying the demographic questions are different. So that we can see what your staff concerns are as compared to what your community concerns are.
Mhm.
The second one is a more nuanced survey, that drills down and is more, just gonna take more time. You'll probably have fewer respondents, but it gets you more nuanced information. So you would say, what are the 5 most significant strengths of our school system? What are the most important skills, the 5 most important skills the superintendent should have? And again, it's more nuanced. It may be, but it's also gonna take people more time to read that stuff, so. Some boards prefer the yellow, and some boards prefer the green, and.
Sarah, tell us
Just a
something.
clarifying question. So the longer one, we definitely will get fewer responses. Does somebody need to finish the survey in order for their response to be recorded and included in our process? Or if they do just the first section of the very long one, do we include that information?
It's all included, so that every time, the report we have is, this many people started and this many people finished. So you know how many people started and finished, and there's always less people that finished than started.
Right.
Always, you always have some people who give up in the middle, so I think it records whatever people fill out.
Uh-huh.
So, the other thing about all these surveys is they have an open-ended section at the end, so if people want to write something that's not covered in the survey, they can do that. And sometimes we see that, it may be issues that are unrelated to the search, but people can write in whatever they want. Remember, this is not a scientific survey, it is an opportunity for people who have something they want to say to the board, or some opinion they want to share with the board to complete. So, there's not gonna be, they can't make anybody complete a survey, the ones who are interested will complete it.
So I had a question, like on the staff survey, question 23, it says, should continue the current direction of the school system. I would hate it if they say it's the least important, but then they didn't fill out question 25 with any relevant information about why they felt that way. I mean, it's kind of an open-ended.
It is an open-ended question.
Question with, you have to pick from, so.
There are two ways to interpret that question too. One is, it's just not important, that's not my priority.
Mhm.
Or B, we don't like the current direction of the school
Right,
system.
and that's what I'd be worried about.
Yeah, and, we could write in there, we might be able to write in there something like, if not, please state why.
Yeah, that would be great.
Please state why in open session.
I think that'd be great if we could get that in there.
Since it is the staff, I definitely want to know what they're concerned with.
Well, we
How
can
are
do
you
that same thing in
gonna
both.
assure
Yeah,
our
yeah.
staff that this is confidential, so if it's online, is it done on your all's website?
No, it's done on SurveyMonkey, which is a website, we can't get in to see who filled them out. Unless people put their name in there, which we've had a couple of times. So we can't, we can't change it, I mean, if there are misspellings, we can't go and change it, we are just as locked out as you are about that stuff, so we can't correct it, but it will, and it will not, we can't track where they came from, so. There is a feature though that keeps the person from the same URL filling it out multiple times, so that you don't have somebody stacking it, you know, so, just so that
I
you know
can
that.
track them.
Yeah, so you can't fill it out 20 times from the same computer. All right, okay, so the question is whether you want the green or the yellow.
Green or the yellow?
I would like the green for the staff, detail.
You like the green for the staff?
Is it important for us to pick the same one for the staff and for?
It helps compare them.
Oh, you gotta compare.
We've had districts that have done it, otherwise you just can't compare them. It's not essential.
Yeah. Would be helpful to be able to compare.
Yeah, it would be.
That's why we suggest them separately.
Yeah, can I just ask you an experience question?
Yes, sir.
So you've probably used both of these, and one of these is very long. So which one have you gotten better responses from?
We get more responses on the yellow.
Okay. Because of the length, or?
Because of the length, because of simplicity of filling it out, but the information isn't as.
Yeah, this one's like a thesis.
Yeah,
Right.
well, we have some boards who want that.
Yeah.
Stop or don't start.
Right,
Yeah.
it's like,
And
they probably
if
wouldn't get.
if we went with the green, if they get halfway through it, would they be able to come back later and finish it, or is it you're committed to it?
I don't know.
You cannot
You
with
can time
survey.
out.
Well, no, Survey Monkey, you can't.
Yeah.
No, it would lose it because it doesn't know who you are.
Right.
I have preference for the shorter one.
Yeah, me too. I
Um,
like the shorter
I
one.
agree.
I think we're gonna have more people get to the free response, and actually
Mhm.
I'm pretty interested in what some of the free response answers are gonna be. Also, the language is just kinda simpler, there's some stuff in the green one that I really like, and I'm like, this language is kind of complex, and I like the idea of like simple language in the
Yeah.
survey.
As I said, we offer two because we have boards who want the green and we have boards who want the
Right.
yellow, and some boards really feel strongly about one or the other.
Yeah, I like the yellow.
People can write it whatever they
Yeah,
want.
and then they can write in, at the end.
I'm wondering, one of the things in our equity policy, our equity policy, I think, asks us to consider, sort of impacts and perspectives and make sure that diverse perspectives are included and that that's shaping our direction as a system. Is it possible, I know we're asking, are you a parent in the system, which grade level?
Mhm.
Is it possible to ask other demographic information, like, income, background, race?
Well, I have to work with your board attorney to make
Yeah.
sure we did that carefully.
Yeah.
I mean, it is anonymous, so.
Yeah.
It's anonymous, so that,
So that would be in the community survey?
That'd be just for the community or community and staff?
for the, well, I think it would be helpful for either.
Do you think that there would be any, I mean, it is confidential, or do you have any concern that less people would fill it out if they felt like that they were having to list that stuff? It's not a legal point, just a thought.
So the other questions are at the end.
Yeah.
So I think, at that point, if somebody could decide just not to answer that question.
Those are optional, all those demographic questions are
Are
So it could be
optional.
just additional
Yeah.
optional
Yeah.
point. I mean, I don't think that it's not like that it would put the district in a position where they could be discriminating against anybody, because
Because
they
it's
will not,
anonymous.
it's anonymous, you would just be getting data.
And we'd be able to see, you know, like actually everyone who filled out this survey is like a high income person or something like that. And
Yeah.
and I think that would call on us to say like, I think we should do a second wave of surveys in order to make sure that we're getting broader perspectives on this.
And
Or
you did
that's what
say IP tracking is turned on, so it'll reduce the likelihood of somebody just filling it out 12 times. Yeah, there's an option in there, there is an option to
It's-
say that.
Well, we do, it is turned on. So
Okay.
You can't do it several times.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I think you said that. Yeah.
Well, because it just
Oh,
makes
yeah.
it unfair and it
Right, yeah.
can tilt it in an unfair way.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
So it's the sentiment to go ahead and add some additional demographic information as options at the end?
Income and racial background
As optional.
is optional?
Yeah.
Yes,
In
it's
the
optional.
optional section.
Okay.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
work on those.
So
Do you
that
need a
way-
motion on this one too, or not?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, we need a motion that we can
Approve the.
approve the yellow with the, okay, saying what?
And Spanish.
Oh, and Spanish speaking?
Yes.
Yes,
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 we do.
we
Yes.
do,
Yes, we do.
we do.
And with the, that was it had the additional question for asking
Ah,
for some follow-up.
that's
feedback.
optional.
Yeah, feedback from the district.
Right, if the direction.
Direction of the district as well as the demographic information, so.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, thank you. Did you get that, Sam? You were going. You were going.
Going quick.
And you're getting a workout, good stand, you know.
Well, and you're gonna email us yours.
That's right.
Okay, that was a quick way to
Whoa.
get started.
Good job,
And,
guys.
Is there anything else
My
that,
goodness.
any other questions? We look forward to working with you. It will be a quiet time in terms of applications, and in the meantime, we're gonna be doing the surveys and all that kind of stuff.
So I did have a question
Uh-huh.
about the community forums.
Yes.
So I'm sure we're gonna do them. Do y'all attend those, or,
They do.
and then how does the information gather? Just by people speaking, or?
This is the way we have found to be the most successful, and that is that, we believe that it is very helpful to have kitchen table discussions. So to have groups of 4 or 5 that get together and answer very specific questions about what they're looking for, and a few other ones that we have used in previous ones. We're just actually, Sam's going to Winston-Salem tonight to help them. Tomorrow night, I'm sorry, tomorrow night. But we're working with them currently, and we're finding them to be very successful. So that way, if you only have, an hour or 2 hours or whatever, and you have a lot of people who wanna speak, they can get together in groups, provide their input, and then someone from the group can be designated to report that out. And then, if there are people who also want to speak at the end, then there's time, you can do a public comment, an additional public comment period for a specific amount of time. This way you can hear from more people who can participate in groups, and the ones we've done, they've just been very lively conversations, and people feel very much more engaged than if you just have them stand up and all do their own separate comments. So we like that, we find that to be the most successful. So we do think of a district this size, probably 2, it depends, and I don't know if you feel like your folks will come out, but, sometimes when we've done them, we've had no one show up because you have the survey option. And so there's also an opportunity to do that, but if people don't have to get up and speak, and they can be a group participant, a lot of people are more comfortable.
Are the community forums, are they meetings of the board, or just
Yes.
you, so they are posted
The board would
especially?
be, we tried to not be the face of this search, and so we think it'd be important for the board members to come and to listen to the reporting out, and to hear what people had to say. Now, that not every board member can make everyone, we understand that, but certainly as many board members as can come.
Those would be posted meetings with minutes presumably
Yeah.
of them, just to, yeah, just wanna make sure.
But the
that-
minutes would be basically the reporting out, which we record, so.
Yep.
So, we do encourage that, so I think would be helpful for you all to talk about a couple of dates that would be good for you, we don't need to do that
Right, we don't need it
tonight,
now, but we will do
But
that.
we would work with you to make sure that that got advertised, and so is the intent to have a couple of community forums?
Yes, I think we
Yes.
would like
Yes.
to
Mhm.
get, because already a community group's expressed interest,
Okay.
so.
Alright. So that would be, you just, let us know when the dates are that you want to do them. We would just encourage you to do them before the report that we have to make, in a few weeks, or in, 6 weeks or so. I don't remember what our date is.
Let's see.
So we would need some lead time before that to do that, so.
Okay.
So, and you guys decide where you wanna, have in several different locations in the school district. But, we're looking at, June 24 is the day we're supposed to come together to review the survey, so it would need to be before that, so.
Sounds good. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Allison and Sam.
Sure. It will be a quiet time in terms of applications. If you ask me how many we have a week ahead of time, you won't like the answer, because most of the applications come in on the last day. These are busy people, they're busy people. Let us worry for you, but, just want you to know that, we feel really good about, we have actually done a lot of outreach in the last year or two. We've gone to the American Association of School Administrators and done recruiting there. I have actually taught at the Howard University Aspiring Urban Superintendents Program. Did just in March, did a session there on superintendent searches. And we're recruiting heavily from those places, and we just want you to know that we nationally have a good outreach. We're really confident we can get you some great candidates, and especially now, we have a lot of focus on equity issues, and we really have concentrated heavily on recruiting folks in the areas where those superintendents with experience have been found, so.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to, you'll hear from us,
About the,
about, oh, look at there, there's time, right there. You stand there with your ear to the wall, will you? So, he watched it all. Of course you did.
So, yeah, let us know about the forums, and otherwise, we're good to go, and we'll get
Yes.
that out to you tomorrow, these.
Okay, all right. Thanks
much.
to you
Thank
both. Yes. All right. So the next item on our agenda, she's coming forward. Thank you very much, Michelle. And company. I saw the head bobbing. Let me see what else. Oh, this is similar to what we saw at the meeting, correct?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
It won't be an hour and a half, it won't be the same.
It is not our plan for it to be
Why are y'all looking at me?
Well, because you're the one that didn't come to the meeting, is it, let's have the full thing. Yeah. Because it was a great report then, I'm sure it'll be a great report now. But Todd had shared with us that he would share the Reader's Digest version of this. And you all know what that means, I guess. I'm older, Reader's Digest, you do that, okay, good. They still do it? Your mother-in-law, see, millennials don't do Reader's Digest.
I'm not a millennial.
No, I'm not a millennial. It's like, I know what you. She's a Gen X.
Just to be clear, the generation everyone forgets.
It's coming, I know it's coming. We were just trying to talk to pass the time, but,
I think we could go ahead and start. All the board members have their presentation in front of you.
Yeah,
right.
we have that.
Good evening, again. A lot of things today. So my name is Sarah Baumgarten. I'm the AIG facilitator for Orange County Schools, and presenting with me tonight is Kylie Brown, our Executive Director for Curriculum and Instruction. We're here tonight to present to you the proposed revision to the Academically Intellectually Gifted, the AIG plan. The plan revision process happens statewide every 3 years, so every district in the state is also going through this process right now as well. And the new plan will go into effect beginning in the fall of 2019. So gifted education is supported through North Carolina, the state law, Article 9B. There is no federal legislation for gifted education. Article 9B states that the General Assembly believes that public schools should challenge all students to aim for academic excellence, and that academically or intellectually gifted students perform or show the potential to perform at substantially high levels of accomplishment when compared to others of their age, experience, or environment. Academically or intellectually gifted students exhibit high performance capability in intellectual areas, specific academic fields, or both intellectual areas and specific academic fields. Academically or intellectually gifted students require differentiated educational services beyond those ordinarily provided by the regular educational program, and outstanding abilities are present in students from all cultural groups across all economic strata and all areas of human endeavor. What this means is that districts must do three things. One, develop a plan and programming to support gifted learners that is required of all LEAs. Charter schools have the luxury of choosing to participate or not. We have to identify gifted learners, and we have to provide them with services. Orange County Schools is also committed to doing a fourth thing, which is to implement the best known practices to support equity and excellence in gifted education. The plan revision process is a year-long endeavor that seeks out input from our many stakeholders. We begin by gathering data from stakeholders, including parent and student surveys, principal and teacher input, and student performance data. Based on this data, the AIG specialist team, which includes all of the specialists in the district, complete a self-assessment rating tool to identify areas of strength and improvement, and that was included in your materials with the summative assessment. The team then brainstorms and develops ideas for plan revision. These proposals are then shared with stakeholder groups for feedback. This has included the AIG Advisory Committee, which is a committee that meets quarterly and includes parents from all of our schools, educators, as well as high school student members, the Northern Orange Black Voters Alliance, Club de Padres, the Equity Task Force, and the Board Student Achievement Committee. Once feedback was received from these groups, final revisions were made, and we are presenting the plan to you for approval.
So I want to be clear with you all this evening that we are passionate about our belief that giftedness exists in all racial, ethnic, geographic, and socioeconomic groups. And we will serve all of our students within a talent development framework. So that means that we're providing screening, referral, and identification, comprehensive programming, differentiated curriculum, partnerships with our diverse community, and high-quality professional learning for staff. Let me tell you a little bit about the talent development framework. What that means is we're committed to providing opportunities for our students. We want to make sure that we focus on the whole child, so not just the academic component, but also the mental and social skills that will support the growth of our students. We're also committed to long-range thinking and planning for the betterment of our gifted learners.
So the AIG plan is organized into 6 standards, and each standard have a number of practices that the LEA must address. And so the first standard is standard 1, and that speaks to how we identify students for AIG. We put into place several measures to ensure that our identification process aligns with best practices in equitable gifted education. This includes using a universal screening in grades 2 and above. This means that all students are screened for AIG, not just those whose teachers or parents request it. That is a big deal. Right? In the spring of grade 2, all children in Orange County Schools will take the cognitive abilities test, and prior to this test, all second graders will participate in readiness activities to familiarize them with the item types that are on it. In grades 3 and above, we use EOGs to screen students. We have 3 referral windows per year to ensure that students are identified in a timely manner. I will also say that this is unusual. Most districts have only 1 or 2 identification windows per year. There are also 4 pathways to identification. This ensures that students are given multiple opportunities to address advanced learning needs. In 2 of those pathways, Pathway 2 and Pathway 3, local subgroup norms will be utilized when available. What this means is that students are compared to other students with their same age, experience, or environment as the law requires. In addition, documentation from the identification process, including information about appeals, is shared with families. So this is a little bit more information about the identification pathways. Pathway 1 utilizes an aptitude testament which measures reasoning skills. That includes the 2nd grade COGAT screen. It can also be administered to older students as needed. Pathway 2 utilizes achievement assessments, which measure specific academic skills in reading and math, and includes assessments such as EOGs. Pathway 3 utilizes non-traditional assessment measures. These include things like classroom artifacts and parent observations. In both Pathway 2 and Pathway 3, whenever available, We can use local subgroup norms which compare students to the same age, experience, environment. So if, for example, our emerging bilingual students who receive English as a second language services will be compared to other emerging bilingual students. This ensures that students' backgrounds and experiences are taken into account. We have also reduced the role of teacher observations, which were negatively impacting students from historically underrepresented groups. Teacher observations will no longer be used in Pathway 2. They were in the previous plan. They will not going forward, and they will be optional for Pathway 3. Pathway 4 allows us to identify highly gifted students who may need more individualized differentiation plans, such as things like whole grade level acceleration. To share with you a bit of information about how this has worked over the past several years, you have the information of our identification rate trends. These are the cohorts of kids who are identified each year. We first began implementing those 4 pathways in 2016, 2017. So even from that 1 year difference from 2015-16 to 16-17, we saw a large increase in the number of students who are identified as well as the diversity of students who are identified. Underrepresentation in gifted education is a nationwide issue, but we are taking steps to reduce that underrepresentation here in Orange County schools, and you can see over the past 3 years, specifically for our Black and Hispanic students, that has increased, and we exceed the state identification rates for both Black and Hispanic students.
So we have had the pleasure of speaking with the board on multiple occasions through student achievement and at whole board meetings on multi-tiered systems of support. And so that is our problem-solving process where we're really looking at student data and using that data to determine the best way to deliver instruction to our students. So we just wanted to make sure that you all knew that our academically and intellectually gifted program also follows that framework. So Tier 1 services are core services provided to students, and they can be provided within the classroom. And then Tier 2 services are when we are doing targeted enrichment for students based on their needs. And that Tier 3, on that highest end, is intensive enrichments to support students in their learning needs. So I want to take a time and tell you about our K-12 program so that you know how we support students from the beginning of their schooling experience all the way throughout. So with our K-2 students, we are focused on experience and exposure. And what that means is that we have a universal nurturing program where kindergarten, first, and second grade students are exposed to various kinds of higher order thinking skills. We're helping them with divergent learning and just critical thinking to really give them a boost. We also wanted to make sure that we point out that our academically and intellectually gifted specialists do provide flexible small group instruction to students based on need when they're at that K-2 level. And then in second grade, we do have opportunities for students to participate in readiness activities to help them on the cognitive abilities test. Moving on to our 3 through 5th grade students, we have a talent development framework that really focuses on, again, using that multi-tiered system of support to provide them with targeted instruction in their area of identification. That can be provided through differentiation in the classroom, or that can be supplemental instruction using additional materials to provide that level of challenge and rigor for students, or it can be meeting their intensive learning needs in a more individualized plan. Moving on to 6th through 8th grade, we're focused on agency and independence. And what that means is as our students are getting older, we want to increase the opportunity for choice so that they have a say in how they learn, when they learn, and the way in which they feel like they learn best. And we do that through a variety of elective programs and also giving them the opportunity to take high school courses while they are still middle school students. And then lastly, when we talk about our high school students, we're really focused on planning for the future. So we give them a variety of opportunities to take advanced placement courses, IB courses, honors courses, and really start thinking about what's going to happen in that post-secondary space. So I want to show you information here. This is data on our nurtured students by subgroup, and this is for kindergarten through 8th grade students. So again, we have made conscious efforts to really make sure that we are reaching out to students and noticing potential no matter a student's racial background.
And just to add for clarification, nurtured students are students who are not formally identified as AIG, but they've demonstrated an advanced learning need in a particular area, and so they participate in that program. We place a priority that we serve kids, not labels, and so if a student is demonstrating that need, then they have access to that curriculum and instruction.
And then also I wanna just talk with you about acceleration opportunities. Those opportunities are available in a variety of ways. So with early entrance to kindergarten or first grade, whole grade level acceleration, and that can be kindergarten through 8th grade, single subject acceleration, credit by demonstrated mastery, and college level courses.
So standard 3 speaks to our differentiated curriculum and instruction, and we've developed this differentiation with those different purposes in mind. So in kindergarten through 2nd grade, we provided those whole class lessons around higher order thinking skills. There's differentiation provided in core, and when practicable, we offer flexible small group instructions for students. In 3rd through 5th grade, we use that tiered approach that aligns with MTSS. In Tier 1, AIG and nurtured students are provided with advanced learning opportunities through core instruction. And importantly, this also complies with advanced math instruction as required by House Bill 986. House Bill 986 required that in grades 3 and above, we provide advanced mathematics to any student who scores a level 5 on their EOGs. We're exceeding the requirement of the state mandate by not only including students who score at a level 5, but also students who score within the top 10% of a subgroup to which they belong. Tier 1 services are primarily provided by classroom teachers, with the AIG specialist acting as a consultant during planning or pushing into the classroom. In Tier 2 services, students receive supplemental curriculum and instruction that is not provided in core. This is usually provided by the AIG specialist in a push-in or pull-out setting. And Tier 3 services are for highly gifted students and might include things like acceleration or independent learning contracts. And these services are facilitated by the AIG specialist. Really the purpose of having these different things is to know that each of our students, their talents will manifest in different ways, and it's up to us to match what we provide to what the child needs, not to some pre-planned item. In 6th through 8th grade, we continue those tiered services as well, and those new opportunities that Kylie mentioned already become available. So advanced courses in math, English, and world languages become available, and they can develop their talents through electives and extracurriculars in career and technical education, the arts, service organizations, and sports. In high school, advanced learners taking advantage of a wide array of honors, advanced placement, or international baccalaureate courses. They may also dual enroll in community college courses through College and Career Promise or the Middle College High School program. Advanced real-world opportunities are also available through things like internships. And of course, we continue to support students who are applying for Governor's School, which is our summer program for gifted high school students.
So we are committed to supporting the growth and learning of our professionals in the workplace, and so that can happen in a variety of ways. So our school-based AIG teachers are very skilled with working with teachers to help them with planning, instruction, assessment. Sometimes that happens through collaboration cycles. So again, that AIG specialist working side by side with the classroom teacher to help them differentiate, help understand the needs of their students and plan exciting, enriching opportunities. Also through an academically and intellectually gifted cohort where teachers can pursue adding on a licensure area to again just enhance their knowledge and skills and to get continuing education credits. And then also I want to point out that our AIG specialists are very committed to really understanding how trauma impacts students, how that might show up in the classroom in order to make sure that they are supporting the needs of our students.
I'll also add that last year was the first year that we offered that AIG add-on licensure professional development. We had 25 teachers who became certified last year. We have an additional 15 teachers who are going through the process right now. That's 40 additional teachers in the district who will have a wider repertoire of skills and strategies to support these learners.
As I mentioned earlier, we're committed to partnerships with our diverse communities. There are lots of ways to communicate with the community and allow them to have input with us as well. That can happen through annual meetings at schools, monthly newsletters, our AIG Advisory Committee, website, connecting with civic and social action groups, and mentorship opportunities.
And then finally, our last standard is our program accountability, and this is how we ensure that we make sure that we implement what we actually write on the page. So we conduct a headcount analysis every year to, again, ensure that the processes and procedures that we are using are effective, and that they are providing equitable access to screening for AIG. Additionally, we share this information with the OCS leadership. We also track our nurtured student data to ensure that students demonstrating advanced learning needs who are not identified are supported. Again, because we serve children, not labels. We collaborate with our finance department to ensure that funds allotted to AIG are used appropriately. We do know that the state allots us at a 4% headcount rate. Orange County Schools has almost 17.5% students identified, so we are fortunate that we have some local funding that is used for AIG as well. Almost the entire AIG budget supports the salaries and benefits for our AIG specialists. The AIG specialists meet monthly for their own professional development, and the AIG facilitator has monthly one-on-one meetings with each of those specialists to ensure that the plan is being implemented with fidelity at their schools and to help them troubleshoot any issues. We also have in Standard 6 is our appeal procedure should a parent or guardian disagree with a child's identification decision or services. And the appeal process follows the chain of command from the school level up to central office. So it follows that we would start initially at the school building, come up to the director level, and then if it's still not resolved, up to this level. So that's the abbreviated version of the plan. You do have the full plan in your board materials. We're excited about this plan. We worked really hard to ensure that we can best meet the needs of our students with this plan and that we are using the best practices available in the field with regards to equity and access to programming. I feel very confident in the specialists that we have, as well as the teachers who have become certified to be part of this process.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from? Sure.
I have a few, if you don't mind. So I know in the larger document of the process, there's a referral process, and in there it talks about the needs determination team, and specifically parents and teachers may also refer to the needs determination team. How do the parents know that they can do that?
It's listed on the website. They have access to the referral form is there.
But if you're in the
yeah.
school and you're not looking on the website daily, how would they find out?
They probably, if they are asking their child's classroom teacher, that's probably their best method of communication with them.
And the needs determination team, who's in that?
So there's an administrator, there's the AIG specialist for the school, there are classroom teachers, and there are support staff like a guidance counselor.
Okay, so there is a guidance counselor in there. All right, is there any normalization across the needs determination team throughout the schools to see how they're approaching it and make sure there's, it's equitable across there, or is there?
Yeah, so with the AIG specialist, before each identification window, we go through the processes and procedures because they help facilitate the meeting, and that ensures that at each school that things are running pretty consistently across the schools. That's something that we'll continue to do to make sure that all of the needs determination teams, particularly if they have new members who are joining the team, know how the processes and procedures work.
Okay, and the last one I have is, so I've heard, and again, just bear with me, that when somebody's identified early on, they'll get a letter stating, hey, your child's potentially identified, and then they possibly get another letter that says, sorry, it didn't happen. Is that true?
So we send a letter home to first notify them that the child has been referred, because we cannot identify a child without permission from the parents.
Okay.
Because we actually have had a case several years ago where we did identify a child and the parent said, hey, I never gave you permission to create a profile for my child and identify them. So that's why we said we realized we need to notify parents that their child has been referred for that first step.
Yes, sir, Steve.
Picking up on what you just said, that was an issue of concern at the last Student Achievement Committee meetings when these folks presented, that we're raising parental expectations on one level with the first entry letter, and then you're throwing a bucket of cold water on the parents when you notify them in a second letter that they didn't make it. Somehow or other that needs to change. You can't elevate people's expectations and dash them on the rock. So I think you guys told us you're looking at revising that whole thing and redoing it and taking a long, hard look at it. Because in the long run, you know, you can't have parents get elated and then they get upset. It doesn't make sense. You have to figure out how to do that in a different way.
Yeah, my concern is this referral process and parents being notified in some manner other than the website. I mean, it's just not realistic.
It isn't.
Parents are gonna
No.
go out there and
Yeah.
say, oh, I need to be proactive, and I think that's where some of the frustration's coming in, that we don't send out a letter and say, hey, we're in the process of doing this evaluation. You know, not that it's, or there's a window or something, I just think the website is not effective.
What I heard though, and Brenda, you were there, Tony, Matthew, you were there, Hillary, you were at one of those meetings, that they're looking at the early identification
Yeah.
process right at the pre-K and K level, and how to expand opportunities for heretofore groups that were not expanded to in the past.
That's true.
So they're looking at that, and I think you raise a good point. Not everybody's gonna run to the website.
Not everybody has website access either.
That's the second point.
So we are happy to communicate with principals and AIG specialists and help encourage them and give them strategies and tips where they can make sure that in multiple methods, they're communicating with their diverse community about identification windows and the procedure. We want to make sure that we're doing our part to make sure that the public is informed.
So I see this as a action item, and I would recommend that we add some verbiage in this to do that, because I think we've got to be more proactive in that engagement, whether it's the principal doing it or something else other than the website. It's just my.
But this is just for the state plan, right?
Yes, the state, yeah.
Well, we can do that separately
We can do
for
it,
our own
yeah, we can
initiative.
do it locally, but we would like to have the plan to be and we need for it to be intact, because it's the state plan.
But we're happy to draft a little
Okay.
procedure that maybe we can share with the board.
That would be great.
That'd be good.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're very
Everybody
committed to that.
comfortable with that?
Yep.
Yeah, because we wanna, with the county, not to tell the state we're gonna change your plan.
Good luck.
Although, yeah, right, it's like, not happening. Thank you very much, ladies. We, now this is a, all right, did you say,
Motion to approve.
and who said second?
Second.
All, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And child nutrition meal prices,
Ms. Valerie Green here tonight, waiting patiently. Thank you, Ms. Green.
Good evening.
good
Good
evening.
Included in your package is information on the section 760 of the Consolidated Appropriations Act 2019 of the Public Law 116-6 as it relates to the Child Nutrition Services meal prices. The intent of this act is to ensure that sufficient funds are provided to the food service account for paid lunches. As stated in section 760 of the act, it said that school food authorities will be required to raise prices for paid lunches due to the negative or zero balance in the nonprofit account as of December 31st, 2018. Based on the fact that Orange County Schools' cash balance is in the positive for December 31st, 2018, the 2019-2020 meal prices will remain the same as 2018-2019. Breakfast will be $140 for students and a la carte for adults. Lunch will be $245 for elementary and $295 for middle and high, and a la carte for the adults.
Do we have any, that was quick.
Forget-
Yeah, yes, definitely. Do we have any questions for Valerie?
Can I just give Ms. Green some kudos?
Oh,
if I
please
could?
do, we want you to.
I just wanna say, I think we need to always remember, there are child nutrition services departments all across this state that do not run in the black and have to raise student meal prices on account of that. And I think many of you know that Ms. Green's track record here, she has run an incredible program for us, and I appreciate the
Thank
work
you.
that you
Yes,
do.
you have.
And it benefits our children and our families because meal prices do not go up.
And thank you for your support.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll come back on consent
It'll come back on consent.
next time.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so the last item on the agenda is election of vice chair or organizational meetings. So given Sarah's stepping down, we are charged with filling the position this evening. In speaking, in the process of speaking with board members, Board Member Halkiotis and Board Member Atherton suggested that perhaps we vote on the chair as well. So we have to have a couple of votes tonight. First of all, the first vote would be if we're gonna go on and reorganize tonight. So that would be, we'd have to vote on that.
What's the second? I'll make the motion that we reorganize tonight.
Okay. You made the motion, and the second.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
No? All right, so we will reorganize tonight. And so here's the next vote that we need to take. This vote that we take next will, let's see it. It'll take 5 votes, and it'll determine whether or not the people who are put in place tonight will retain their seats until 2020, July 2020. Because we'll be in essence, waiving the policy, and that's why we're voting.
Correct.
That is why we're voting. We did it correctly.
And that takes 5 votes because it's a waiver of policy, correct?
Yeah, I think I said that, but okay.
Yes, thank
Yeah, all right, because I got that from you. Yeah?
So would that mean that if we say that we don't pass that,
Yeah.
that means in 3 meetings we'll do this again?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
Is
I
it
mean-
3?
it's 3.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
It would
correct.
be in July.
it's
unless
July. Because what we had since, basically saying, I want to waive it, and, all right. So now, go ahead.
I was just gonna make a comment why I'm in favor of waiving the policy. If we're gonna come back in 3 weeks with everything
3
that's.
meetings.
No, not 3
meetings,
weeks.
Excuse me, 3 meetings. With everything that we have before us coming up, intern superintendent search, new superintendent search, that, in continuing the redistricting, I don't think that, coming back in 3 meetings, is justifiable. I think we just need to get focused and going forward. So that's.
Thank you for your comment. Might I say, we just sat through Allison's presentation, and we won't be doing anything relating or regarding to the superintendent search. So, we can vote how we want to, but we don't wanna, put excuses on it. So, all right, so now we're gonna vote. This vote is to, waive the policy.
Policy 2200, excuse me.
Correct. To say that we will not come back in July to have reorganization. All in favor?
Well, there needs to be a motion.
There, yeah, you need to make that motion.
Motion to waive policy 2200.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, so we will do chair, vice chair, and,
We'll do it again in
do-
July.
oh yeah, then we'll do it again in July.
Yeah,
All right.
I do have
So
one
now-
thing
go
if
ahead.
I could. There does need to also be, as tradition, if the board wishes to do it, to vote by written ballot, that you would waive the board policy 2342, so that you all could proceed by written ballot if you so are so inclined. That's been the practice, but that's up to you.
Say that again.
So the history of the board, but it's up to you that when you get to this phase, the board, since I've been here, they've always voted for chair and vice chair by written ballot.
Well,
And so, but that does require a waiver of policy, and the policy is policy 2342. So that's always been on my list, and then it's up to you all whether you wish to waive that policy and proceed by written ballot.
now, or you just be brave and raise your hand. So.
I'll call a divide. Didn't it say that if we call a divide that we vote by raise of hands?
Well, you raise by hands if there's not a motion to waive policy.
Oh.
So the voting method policy, let me just pull that up. It says no secret ballots are permitted. If the board decides by majority vote to vote by written ballot, each member must sign his or her ballot, and the ballots must be made available for public inspection in the superintendent's office immediately following the meeting and until the meeting are approved. So the question is whether you all want to vote to proceed by written ballot, which it would be by majority vote.
And that's what's normally been done.
That has been what's been normally done,
And
correct?
the chair normally stays too, so,
Yeah. I'm
just
not,
for the record.
I'm not weighing in, I'm just
I'm
saying.
not talking to you.
Yes.
If they wanna hijack my last few weeks, that's fine. No, so let's go on.
Exactly.
All in favor of
So there-
his motion. Didn't you make the
There's
motion?
no motion yet.
All right. Whose motion?
That we're,
No one made.
Motion
We're
and
good.
ballot.
whether we want paper ballots.
That's correct.
Which has been the tradition. I'll make a motion that we have paper ballots as we
Second.
have done in the past.
Didn't you change the policy for public to be able to speak at the topic when the topic comes up? We're supposed to get an opportunity to speak.
Okay, so
A work session.
that's at a work session, this is the regular
There's
meeting.
been no comments at work sessions. I've been here for a year. And in work sessions, they haven't allowed comments.
There has been comments.
Okay. Well, we'll say, I know one thing that, is on people's minds, and I'll just say it, is that, it's been tradition that we've done it. Well, I've been on this board for a little over 15 years, and we've done it both ways. And it's been tradition for the chair to stay in place, speaking of tradition. So we're just breaking tradition a little bit, and we will move forward with take the motion, that's it, first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey.
Aye. All right.
So we're proceeding by written ballot, okay. So we're gonna start with the election of chair. I have round one, so we will pass the
Oh,
ballots.
I forgot this. Well, I'll do it in the closed session. I forgot the minutes.
Right, okay, but, yeah, so.
just passed. Available to the public. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
When will the results be made available to the public?
Immediately following.
Immediately.
So we can see who voted for what?
Yes,
Immediately. Immediately.
Okay, so passing around the ballots, wanted to just remind the board to, sign the ballot. Is there a date? There's not a date. So sign the ballot, check one box. Ms. Smiley's name is not on it by her request, and that it does require 4 votes. If we have a election after the first one, then that's fine, otherwise that we would continue until we got 4 votes.
There you go.
I don't wanna disrupt the process, but we're saying that there's no voice from the community on this, for this process. Just because it feels to me that no explanation has been shared about why there's a vote to remove the chair, and there's no voice, and for people who are clearly adamant to have the vote, and now we can't even vote out in public, it just feels very, low integrity from my personal opinion. 2, if this is a group that's representing the community and students, and you have an opinion to remove the chair, then I feel like you should be willing to share that opinion with the public. 3, if you're so adamant about removing the chair, then do it in person amongst the community, and do not hide from it.
Amen. This is not okay. This is not okay at all. I've never witnessed anything like this. Racism isn't okay, and neither is misogyny. It's not okay.
And people who want to talk about equity and yet take the place of the black woman as chair?
That's crazy. For 3 weeks, for 3 meetings, it's so important to do it for 3 meetings.
If there's a reason, then there should be open. I mean, absolutely, everyone has their opinion about why things should happen, but there should be some logic or some reason of why you would choose to go out of tradition, if I may quote Ms. Stevens, and why this is even on the table. Without any explanation seems.
Because they can't wait to paragraph.
Get it right back where they're at.
This is crazy.
And just not to vent, but logically speaking, this seems like a fair request.
This is crazy.
Well, can I say,
This is why we have the issue, this is what we're proud of.
can I say, keep this in mind, they can take the chair, but they cannot take the voice. So that's important.
It means a lot that they let you work out, you last for your term, that you say, that means a lot.
Well,
Right? They
I have to say,
be
this
able to
is,
show
this is president.
that they stopped you.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous and disgusting, and I am sorry, it's very disgusting.
So may I proceed?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
proceed.
So by,
So announce and then, so
Oh.
that things will be better, the public would like to know who voted for whom,
Okay,
so that
so-
would be done.
the ballots will be available after the
Right.
meeting for all to see. By a vote of 4-3, Mr. Atherton is the new chair, Ms. Stevens received 3 votes. And so Mr. Will Atherton is the new chair of the Board of
Mr.
Education.
McKnight is the vice chair, we already know.
All right, so let's proceed with the vice chair.
Will, take
Do
your
you wanna
spot.
move? I'll tell you what, let's wait till both seats are vacated, okay?
It's not the way to win, Will. It's not. It's not. You're the chair now, you can have.
Do you
Proceeding with vice chair, I'm gonna be handing the ballots out. The same rules apply as previously noted. Requires 4 votes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please remember to sign the ballots
Yeah,
as
I have to make sure I
before.
put my name on there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I? Yeah, may I proceed?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so, Tony McKnight is the new vice chair, congratulations, by a vote of 4-3, with the other 3 votes going to Hillary McKenzie.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I think we got a closed session. No?
Oh, well, I'm not the chair. A motion's on the floor. Were you looking at Steve?
No, I thought
I-
we were moving around.
Yeah, we're gonna move
No.
around, but the motion was on the floor, because I think some people were leaving.
So there's been a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting, and so Mr. Atherton, Chair Atherton,
Yep,
if you would
carry the
proceed
motion.
with that.
See, all's in favor of it.
All right, we have a motion on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. So, motion does not carry. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
And that would be for the reasons previously stated on the printed agenda and as per the first, closed session.
Motion to go into closed session, as previously stated.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? We shall proceed into closed
Mr.
session.
Chair, may we take a 10-minute recess?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.